Hey there, welcome to Exposing the Hidden Reality. I'm Annette, career reinvention coach and caffeine-powered human.
And I'm Sandra, women's life and leadership coach. I bring the woo to our conversations.
And this is the podcast where we call out all the unspoken stuff, biases, outdated expectations, and all the things women navigate in work and in life.
Yes. We bring to light what we see happening. Smart, capable women stuck in the same patterns because no one really talks about what's going on.
We'll bring some difficult truths.
Welcome, insightful experts.
And sprinkle in a little chaos and fun.
It wouldn't be us if we didn't, right?
It's true.
So whether you're walking the dog or tuning in during your commute, we're glad you're here. Let's do this.
Let's do this. You want to do the let's do this together? Like 3, 2, 1, let's do this. All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's do this. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad it made you laugh, Beverly. Our insightful expert today is Beverly Flores. And if you can't already tell, she's very fabulous. And we've agreed to a jewelry swap later. But that is totally off topic. And Beverly, please feel free to introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. And I have to say, after watching the intro, and then I'll introduce myself. Yeah, we're definitely swapping some necklaces. There's that pink one in there. Like,
perfect.
We're going to have a side conversation to this. So hello, my name is Beverly Flores. I am an award-winning leadership strategist and keynote speaker. I am also a mom. But you know, one of the things I think as women that we do really well is we put titles on ourselves. And so at the end of the day, I'm me. And I think that's one of the biggest, most important titles that we can really embrace. And I know we're going to talk about it from authenticity, but I'm me. And like, once you make that recognition, then you can start to choose what titles you want to put on and take on.
I love that. Because we're labeled with many things before we even have the chance to say that's what we want, right? Somebody's daughter, somebody's sister.
Yes.
So being able to choose yourself later is so important. How do you think those labels impact us professionally or in the workplace?
Oh, I think it's huge. One of the stories I love sharing in my keynotes is so I have 3 sons. My oldest is 22. He's a senior in university. And then I have twins that are 15. And when my twins were born, they were born early. And their dad at the time was away visiting family. And I was leading mergers and acquisitions in the Fortune 100 that I was in for our division. And I went to the hospital because the doctor said, yep, probably need to go to the hospital. And I kept doing the meeting. One, it was on a phone, so there was no video. But I didn't want to tell someone that I was going into preterm labor and, you know, created these, not only one human beings, 2 human beings that were deciding to come into the world, but I had this really critical financial call that needed to happen for this M&A. Nurses over here sticking IVs in. Do you want? And I was like, no, keep coming back. Yep, no, this is good. Everything's signed off, right? So we take all these, and I think, you know, and it is true more and more. Also, I think men are also coming to this realization. It's okay for them to also say, I'm a dad. Mm-hmm. But for women in particular, we have become conditioned. And I think there's what I teach in one of my classes is around fear. So false evidence appearing real. Yes. And it can only take one incident for you to go, oh, maybe I shouldn't really speak too much about being a mom or a parent or a wife, or that I have other responsibilities outside of the office because I saw one person get chastised for that. So I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to just say, yep, I can do it. And meanwhile, I'm going to rush out as soon as possible because I have other responsibilities to that. And we condition ourselves to that environment. And that's one of the things as I started my business Time Out Consulting is how do I move from a 24-year corporate career with the same company? I started as an intern and they're a great company. I had so many incredible experiences. And I traveled, I worked with great people. I also became very conditioned to what I thought I was required to do to be successful and be a leader.
Yes.
And when I chose to put my boys first, as I was a solo parent and I have full responsibility of my boys, very quickly, I started to notice differences in opportunities.
Yes.
That shouldn't happen.
Yes.
Right? They were unknown ones, where a manager thought she was advocating on my behalf because I wouldn't want to move. I never said I wouldn't move. My boys and I've already had this conversation. You don't know the conversations that are happening inside somebody's home. You don't get to make that decision for someone, and especially a female.
Yeah.
And those are the things, like, we got to talk about these and remove that fear of retaliation, right? I had HR come to me separately and say, gosh, she was new in HR. And she said, I don't know why you're not getting these promotions. Like, I've worked with you now. You're great. We need more of you. I said, I'm happy where I am. I'm good. And she said, I have it down that you're not willing to move. And I said, whoa, what? And she said, yeah, we're not talking about you in talent reviews because your file says you don't want to move. I said, I've never even been asked that question. And so we put these labels even inherently on others, right? Oh, she's a single mom. She's just married. She's pregnant. And we assign these titles without having actually a conversation. And sometimes they can be challenging conversations, right? As a leader, though, your job is not to have all the answers. Your job is to ask the questions and get to the answers. So ask, hey, see you as a single parent. Tell me about how can we help support you?
Yeah.
I know you're driven. I know that you want to continue to be successful. I'm not a parent. You can say that, right? If you're not a parent, right? I don't know what that looks like. Is there anything that we need to consider or that we could support you with? And if I come back to you as the employee and say, no, I got it under control, please trust them.
Yes.
Yes.
Was that the point where you decided that you weren't going to stay and that you were going to go out on your own, or was it later that experience?
It was about 2 years after that.
Yeah.
So we'd gone through another reorg, and there was a moment. Loyalty in career is funny. I started as an intern. I worked my way up, into those leadership positions. And even when I didn't have the same loyalty that I had a loyalty to my team.
Yeah, of course.
And I do think women also bear the brunt. I don't want to let down my people. Like,
yes,
goodness forbid that I'm over here dying, but I'm not going to let the people down. Right?
Or delivering 2 preterm babies.
Yeah.
Right.
And meanwhile, my boys are like, you okay? Yep, I'm good. Right?
Not having a heart attack. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah. I have got to do the cardiac unit once. That one.
Right.
That was an overnight one. And they're like,
Wow.
yeah, this is a bit stress related, but I never said anything because I didn't want to be seen as weak.
Correct.
I was in a male dominated company.
Right.
I didn't even want that thought. I presumed that thought would come through instead of giving a manager a chance to be empathetic. Right. That was a bias on my part. Yeah. Just as much as the other way around. So fast forward to July 2024. I found myself kind of in a position where a lot of my mentors and my safety net, my promoters had left the company either through retirement or of their own choosing. And I kind of didn't want to step back anymore. I didn't want to have to filter anymore. And so they had a reorg. I would have been shocked if I did not get a severance package opportunity. I knew the day before, even without being told, I wrote my email. Like I knew there was no way I was going to come through that reorg, and I didn't. And I was so thankful. I had the 15-minute conversation.
Right.
It was quite clear how the decision was made. And the thing that stood out to me is the individual goes, but on a personal note, you're a strong woman. You'll be okay.
Wow.
And it's like, yes, but you don't get to use it that way.
Correct.
Like you don't know what it means to be a strong woman in my circumstance, just like I don't know what it takes for you to be a strong person in your circumstances, right? What motivates me is likely different than from what motivates you, but the important part is I know what makes me resilient and courageous. And so we left that, and I took about 30 days, and I thought, gosh, do I really want to go back into corporate? And the answer was no, unless I could go back into a company that was truly ready to put business before people. Because I think if you will treat employees as people first, we will get better business. And when we get better business, we're going to have better results that then turn around and support people as well. And so I thought, gosh, you know what? I firmly believe in one, the courage to change, and it takes strength to lead. And so how do I take all of these things that I'm always talking about, because I was so passionate about the development of my people and my teams, how do I bring all this together? And so one of those is my signature program that's called EEI. And my 3 boys and I laugh. I don't have any tattoos, but if we get a tattoo, it'll be EEI. And so energy, enthusiasm, and intensity. And you own all 3 of those.
Yes.
So how do you take care of yourself? Your energy is what motivates you, right? Your energy, when you then align that with your enthusiasm, is going to connect naturally. So if you think about a project, like I am not a great detail person. So when I got put into a role that was very spreadsheet and process orientated, right? I don't have a lot of energy for it.
Right.
It's really hard to be enthusiastic about it. And the intensity that's required to keep to a process for sales estimation, not really my thing.
No, that doesn't even sound fun.
No, but you know what? There are people out there that just, oh my gosh, this weight gets them up in the morning. Versus public speaking, they're like, please let me go hide under my spreadsheets. Right. So for me in that role is like, okay, what can I be energetic about? I was put in the role because I was known for change, communication, and culture. And that department had an opportunity for it. Okay, I'm really enthusiastic about those things. So I'm going to bring that energy. And they were all like, oh, she's a lot. But what I did is I turned it around for them. Like, hey, I don't know the number stuff here. I don't know the processes. I don't know fundamentally, but you do. And I am super enthusiastic that you know. So what do you need to help you take it to the next level? And they were truly probably the best team I had in my whole career because they loved what they did. So they had that energy every single day. It was a call center and then data analytics. I had 2 functions there. They had energy for their job and having the best customer experience for those that interacted with us. They had enthusiasm for finding solutions and that intensity. I mean, we dealt with things like, order delays across multiple factories. You have to have some energy and enthusiasm to communicate to someone that their, $500,000 tractor just got delayed.
Yeah.
And do it with empathy, right? So energy, enthusiasm, and intensity. And when you got that, like anything is possible. Like there's not much that I've yet to find that I can't do when I apply that. And then people go, gosh, I don't think I can have as much energy as you do. Mine is just visible.
Right.
There's some really extremely quiet, energetic people. And I actually need them just as much. Because they're the steady, as I call them I have 4 leadership personas in my program. And one of them is called a focus stabilizer. That is not me. But I need those people. They love process. They love systems. They love details. they're going to follow it through, right? And you guys are going, yep, nope, we need those people, right?
We do need those people.
I desperately need those people.
And that's their superpower.
Right.
It is obviously not ours on this podcast here, right? So one of my other ones is enthusiastic visionary. You can see an opportunity. You are the let's whiteboard it. Let's throw out ideas, right? Let's talk and share. Meanwhile, my focus stabilizer is going, please kill me now. Okay. So our enthusiastic visionary, right? They're leaning into that enthusiasm. Anything is possible. Then we have our energetic connector. These are the people that they can connect ideas and people, and they're bringing things like when I see someone, I'm immediately processing information very quickly, right? Annette and I share this quick connection over jewelry. We could have a whole conversation around this. We immediately found a connection about hair, right? Like I'm looking for these things that make people feel comfortable, inclusive, because then they're going to lean into their strengths. And then the fourth one is the intensity driver. This is the individual, like we are going from here, and I don't care how we're getting there, but we're getting there. Enthusiastic visionaries need people like that because they can get lost in the details of the idea, right? They don't actually fundamentally make some of those steps that are going to bring that forward, right? You guys are going, yeah, I've seen some of that, right?
And that is definitely the connector. What did you call it?
The energetic connector. And I love, like, if you look behind you, right, you've got all these little connectors things behind you on your wall, your servers.
They're actually little wall jewels.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't wear jewels, but I like jewels.
Yeah. So. And like, that's probably how you process information and people and what you hear to ideas is, to me, like, when I'm speaking with someone, with a client, like I'm immediately like visualizing in my head, like, okay, you're here, you want to get here. What do we need to do? And how do we bring it here? They're all interconnected. And I love that about people. We're all interconnected.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
That's amazing. I really like that. So they work together. So the EEI and then the styles work together. Yeah. And then that's also how I could see you hiring according to that. Like, what does this role require? What kind of person are we looking for? What kind of energy are they going to bring to the role? Are they going to be out in front of people? Are they going to be under their spreadsheet? Right? Knowing these different things could help you choose the right type of person so that they love the role, but also so that they fulfill a role on the team.
Yes.
To make sure that the project, the work gets done.
Yeah. So a great example is when I was in that role, I wanted everyone to, we were using spreadsheets. I wanted us to transition to Power BI, and just because it gave us some additional capabilities and tools, and because we weren't going to be getting more headcount. And so you had to go in and you could formulate, and I did the training with them because I'm not going to ask somebody to upskill if I don't also require that of myself. And the instructor, they came back and they said, everybody's done what they're supposed to do. This one here is the most colorful spreadsheet we've ever seen done. And I was like, that'd be fine. Hey. Did you know you can like do this and this and this? And they're like, well, it actually wasn't in the instructions to do that. I was like, I know, but it looks so much better that way. I don't know if the number's right, but it looks cool.
If your spreadsheet needs sparkle, Beverly is your person.
I totally got you covered here.
I love that, but it's balance, right? It helps balance the personalities. It helps balance the types. It helps balance the energy, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because sometimes if it gets too serious or too big or too deep, you need someone to bring it back out.
Yeah. And the reason I created it is, I started with zero. I went from, hey, I have a severance package and I'm still a solo parent, and how am I going to do this, to, I believe that it's time to invest in believing in myself. I'm going to start my own consulting business, to where I am today. I've helped 20 plus clients in less than a year, and about 60% of them have come back and are still working with me from a business and or an individual perspective. So I consider going from zero to that in less than a year pretty good outcome. Of course,
Amazing.
you want it, to be even more. But at the heart of it, I wanted people, like we all talk about, like, here are all these different leadership tests.
Right.
And I believe that individuals that are smart enough can figure out what they think they're supposed to be. Right. If I'm in a role and I was in a group of, like, I was always kind of the, like, oh, she's over there, kind of like, could you come fit in with the rest of us? I'm like, I don't want to fit in with the rest of you. And so, like, how do you create this confidence? And more importantly, and I saw it on one of the signs in the intro, courageous self-love. I think someone was holding up in that workshop. But it's really about the courage to lead. So how do you do that as an individual? You have to embrace who you are and do it authentically.
Yeah.
But if you don't know who you really are and you're only being what you think you're supposed to be, it's exhausting. Mm-hmm. There are so many people that are literally sitting in their car, getting off public transportation, putting on a mask to go into their job.
Yes.
That's energy.
Yes.
Or lost energy.
Yeah, it's energy. It is draining your energy. Versus if you could come in, lean into your strength. Yeah. Maybe you really don't like speaking in front of people, and yet you are always asked to give a presentation. One, why? Well, probably because people respect you. They see that you know the information. But maybe it's literally terrifying to get up there in front of the room to do that presentation. How can you communicate that with courage? Mm-hmm. Are there other people that would love the opportunity to be the voice of the information? Is there some tag team opportunities that can come from that, right? But we get to this place of fear, again, false evidence appearing real. Go, gosh, if I say that I'm terrified to do this, I'm not going to get another chance. That's going to be, right? Instead of, Annette might be a great partner. Look at the two of you, right? You guys have this fantastic balance and integration between each other. You have alignment. And it works. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have alignment because I wasn't going to let Annette get away. She was going to have to deal with me, whether she liked it or not.
Now, what I want to know is, did you coordinate, Annette, your blue necklace with Sandra's blue shirt today?
I swear no. I swear we didn't. We're just that good, Beverly.
It's just that good, right? It's just that integration. Like, I talk with clients and people about work-life balance. It's a myth. I never use work-life balance, because then you're truly saying your work is the exact same weight as your life. That can't be true.
No.
Right? But if we have alignment and integration that says, gosh, you know what? I have this really big project that's in front of me. Hello, people at home or other things in my life, right? I need to have 10-hour days right now.
Yes.
And I'm actually going to communicate that to whoever needs to know that. And it might even be to myself.
Yes.
Right? So 10-hour days need to be done for this project. I am also committed to ensuring that I take vacation and I turn off.
Yes.
You've done it over here. So why can't this align as well? Right? I need to be at a soccer game, right?
Yeah, I also have an issue with balance, the word balance, because balance implies that you can apportion in some way that is fair, or makes sense. The reality is that you might be at work and all of a sudden there's a fire at your house. You can't say, oh, I'm going to balance this by saying I still have 3 hours at home, and when I'm done here, I'm going to go and deal with the mess at home. No, all of a sudden that has priority. If your child or your spouse or a family member is injured, that is priority. There's no balancing that.
No. And again, think of the energy drain. So one of the exercises that I do is really kind of watch yourself for a week. And what gives you energy? Just make a list. What gives you energy? Like maybe you love doing cold calls. We'll just use that. Like not very many people will say it. But some people are like, ooh, the excitement of it. I love the outreach. This is new opportunity, right? And they like finding ways that connects to people that there hasn't been yet that alignment, right?
Okay.
Now, on the other side, somebody goes, oh my gosh, I absolutely dread that action. In fact, I procrastinate it as much as possible. And guess what? The results are never very good. Well, yeah, because you don't like doing it, right? Mm-hmm. So if I have those two individuals on my team and I see one excelling and one that's not, as a leader, I have an opportunity to say, all right, Annette, you love cold calling. Sandra's like, no. Annette, why do you like it so much? And you're going to ideally be able to learn to communicate it or communicate it clearly if you can. Meanwhile, Sandra, I was like, what do you not like about it? What causes you to put that to the side, even though you need to do it? Mm-hmm. And you might go, gosh, you know what? I feel like I'm bothering people. I don't want to be invasive. Like it just doesn't align with who I am. Okay. Sandra, what's something that gives you energy as you looked over the past week? And you might say, you know what? I love making sure I'm given from our conversations. This is likely not true. I love going through the details of the sales contract and making sure that it's set.
Yes, that's what Sandra loves.
And then that's going, oh, you know what? I actually dread that part. Yeah. Guess what? We just found an opportunity. Either I can partner you together so that you can, again, align with each other's strengths. You can help coach the other one, which also makes you valuable and builds a relationship and trust in the team. Yeah. Or if it is appropriate, I can say, you know what, Annette, would you like to do more cold calls? Because Sandra would prefer not to. And in fact, if you're willing to take on more cold calls, Sandra's actually willing to take on the review of your sales contracts that you're getting in place. Now you both feel wholly valued. And as an employer, as a manager, I'm now getting more of you showing up authentically in that process, right? Yes. See, it agrees with me. It's a fantastic idea. But we don't do that. We go, oh, I dread these sales calls, but I'm going to get them done because I have to, because if I don't, then it's a performance issue. Yeah. I can't say that I just don't feel comfortable doing this, or I need more training for this.
I think too, there's, and as a manager, it means that we have to figure out where the fine line is, because there are times when we ask our team members to do a task they don't like, but because it is skill building.
Yes.
And we know that as they develop down the path that they themselves have indicated they would like to advance in, that this is a necessary skill for that role. And so we want to offer them the opportunity to go ahead and do that, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it feels like, oh, I could make this easier by rearranging the work. We still want to offer them the chance to do that, to give them those at-bats, right? And one of the challenges, I think, as a manager is standing firm in your own decision to give people those at-bats when your management team is saying, don't put that person in that role again because it was terrible.
Yeah. And so if you look at the scenario that we just talked about here, so I'm giving Annette some of the things she really likes to do, right? And I mentioned I'm partnering you up now. Yeah. Because what I also want you to see, Sandra, is like cold calling is actually not really bad. Vice versa. I want Annette to see like, hey, when you really have these strong sales contracts, that helps build the longer term relationship, right? Mm-hmm. And so part of it is being able to ask then as the manager, like you got to lean in on these conversations, right? So instead of making it easy, Sandra, for you to not do cold calling, I want to build your confidence. Yes. But I also want to understand, like, tell me more about why you don't like cold calling.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Right. So we're building this trust. And you might say, you know what, I just had this really bad experience. My parents were getting harassed and like, we just didn't know how to stop it. Like, I just have this really negative association with cold calling. And so what we might talk about is, again, going back to Annette, who has a very different reason for why she likes this, and saying like, Sandra, so what is our solution that we're providing, right? We're providing X, which we believe is going to help people do something, right?
Yeah.
So do you want to help people lead with more courage or to feel more confident? And you're going to go, well, yeah. Okay. So the only way we can do that
Right.
is, so instead of you making 10 calls this week, what if we start with 5?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the biggest thing when we think about change. We think about like, I'm over here and I have to get over here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is where I think coaching really comes into play is I'm actually going to show you 10 steps that are between here and here.
Yes.
It's based off my experience, both as a leader, my own personal experience. It's based off my own learning. We're going to take into account where your storyline is and your subconscious beliefs as well, because those are huge, right? And
Yes.
actually, you don't have to go from here over here in one leap. In fact, it's very unlikely you will.
Correct.
And it be sustainable at that point.
Right.
So what does step 1 look like? It's uncovering your narrative that's not working. Okay, so now we've owned that. So, and kind of get to midpoint, and then we move from thinking about it to, okay, we're going to actually do it, right?
Yes.
Because I love when people are like, I'm thinking about it. And I was like, I love that you're thinking about it. I'm also thinking about having a cup of coffee, and like, that coffee sounds really nice. And I'm going to go make a cup of coffee because I want it. Same thing with our behaviors. It's one thing to think about them. It's a whole nother thing to take action on them.
Correct. I always say I'm the best swimmer on the side of the pool. You cannot learn to swim by watching. You have to learn to swim by doing.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we don't want to develop the muscle. And there's lots of reasons why we may not want to. We might be scared to. But yes, it's you have to jump in the pool at some point and do it.
The funny thing is we actually have to convince ourselves that we're trustworthy. Because our brain, ego, is in there going, the last time that we went out away from the edge of the pool, you swallowed a lot of pool water. That wasn't very fun. Just stay over here. And then that's not going to happen again. And go, oh yeah, I remember that. So meanwhile, what we can do is we can start to make very tangible proof points. So a swimming instructor might put something fun out there. So if you get to the something fun, now you're going, oh, actually, that was kind of fun. The water wasn't all that bad, right? You have a tangible proof point. So what I do with clients that are really working on making that transition is we do a trust jar or a bowl. So make a promise to yourself. So let's say it's that, one, she was purposely working on like, how could she be a stronger positive influencer in the wellness space online? But she's very humble herself. So part of it, she's going through like, what are people going to think? She's getting some feedback from family at home, and said, right. So I want, every time you put a post out there, you're going to put a marble in a jar in your living room. It has to be visible.
Okay.
So then as we go through that, she goes, gosh, the other day, my fiance knocked over the jar of the trust jar. She goes, there was marbles everywhere. And I was like, oh, so you mean you actually... And she was so funny. She shared a great example, actually, just 2 days ago. She said, I got a message back from someone that just said, I love how authentic you are. And it's really inspiring to see you sharing a truth instead of pretending to be this whole different person, right? So we're building that confidence, but we all need a trust jar.
Yes.
We have to convince ourselves that we are trustworthy.
Yes.
I do agree. And we talked about this a little bit before we hit the go live button, but what's the difference between being authentic and maybe being a version of ourselves that if we had a moment to think, we wouldn't be exactly so proud of. I
Yeah.
think people are getting confused, right? Authenticity is like this buzzword right now. It's everywhere. So what is true about choosing me and being the real me? And what about the me when I
Mhm.
lose my temper in traffic? That's probably
Yeah.
not the me I want to be all the time.
Yeah. But it is you, right?
It
If you're the person that just there, you get frustrated with the traffic, you trying to hold it all in is likely going to come out somewhere,
Mhm.
right? It might be at home, as an example, right? It might be when you get into the office and goodness forbid, nobody wants to do an 8 a.m. meeting with you because they've seen how you come into the office, right?
Right.
So what I like to talk about is we can, again, that mask, we can pretend that we are being authentic for what we perceive is required around us.
Mm.
The other side is I'm going to be authentic, which takes no consideration into the environment around us, right? I'm going to listen to my music without headphones. This drives me nuts as a parent, right? It's not an option in our house, and it's not an option to have two headphones on. You can have one on, but you're going to engage in the environment around you, okay? But I don't want to hear your videos because that lacks self-awareness. So I do not think that you can have authenticity and disconnect it from self-awareness. So an example that, we talked about a little bit was I was in a manufacturing environment. I love my jewelry. I also like wearing skirts and dresses and nice shoes. But if I was going into a manufacturing environment, logic and self-awareness tells me that is not a good attire choice for many reasons. One, it's disrespectful to the people that are working in that environment that every single day are dressing for safety, productivity, and efficiency. So I need to be respectful to that environment because I'm coming into it. Yeah. Two, if I have something really big on, I've now created a safety hazard, not only for myself, but also for others. And quite frankly, I kind of like my head. So I don't want to wear a big bulky necklace that could create a safety hazard, right?
Right.
And it doesn't matter whether or not I like metatarsal shoes or not. That's a safety factor. So can I get a pair of metatarsal shoes that are kind of cool looking? I can tell you can. Right? It may take a little bit of extra effort, but I still have a choice.
Yes.
The choice is I can be logical and self-aware in my authenticity, or I can be completely unaware, and I can have a negative impact around those around me. And is that really being authentic, or is that just being selfish? There's a big, big difference.
Yes. Yeah.
And I would much rather be self-aware, because when you're self-aware, to your point, I know that I may yell at somebody in traffic. Do I need to take it out on someone once I get outside of the car? No.
Right. Yeah, I love it. That is a perfect analogy. So your authenticity has to be paired and partnered with your self-awareness. And without the other is not fully going to help you.
No. And it's not somebody else's responsibility to be self-aware for me.
Yes.
Right? I shouldn't have to have somebody tell me you didn't dress appropriately to come into the factory. Because then I just made their job harder.
Yes. Put them in a tough position.
Yeah. Because that's not fun, having to tell somebody, sorry, we had this whole event planned for you. You didn't follow instructions because you didn't feel like it. And now we can't let you in because our safety is really, really critical to the people that work here every day. And you're not that special.
Yes.
I think too that sometimes we're not aware.
Yeah.
We're not self-aware, or we aren't thinking because we haven't been in the situation where that thought process might be necessary. And oftentimes what happens is we punish the messenger.
Oh, absolutely. Because we feel embarrassed. We feel guilty, right? We have all these lower level energy emotions.
Yes.
And versus saying, gosh, you know what, I really messed up with that. Is there any chance that you do have metatarsals that can be borrowed?
Right.
In the cases that I know that we always had metatarsals that could be borrowed, right? But we're so afraid to ask questions and to accept, you know what, sometimes, and I see this especially among younger generations,
Yes.
it's okay to not know the answer. It's okay to fail. I'd rather you take a chance and learn through the process than to sit and not take the chance.
Yes.
Smart.
It's okay to be wrong.
Mhm.
That takes a ton of courage. So
And-
you know what? I didn't know that. I could do that differently. Thank you.
And one of the things that I don't think we value enough, and we talked about this on Monday or Tuesday with Lorraine, is we don't value failure.
Yes.
And not fail, like failure has a negative context, but failure is the way we learn, right? We
Right.
learn how to walk because we failed at walking like a gazillion times. We just don't remember that, right?
Yeah.
We fail at riding a bike, but eventually we figure out the muscle memory to be able to shift. We fail at learning how to swim until we learn how to swim. But for whatever reason, when we fail as an adult at something we think we should like magically know, we get all flustered about it and stop thinking that, oh, I just didn't learn the first time. I learned like the third, fourth, fifth, sixth time, but eventually we learn.
Yeah.
I think we need to have a more, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think we need to have a more measured response to the word failure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a company out there I was reading. They call it a banana card, and basically the founder has already signed off. You get a banana card. You get a banana card, because we actually want you to use this, and it means that either one, you're going to take a risk, and it's a known risk, and it didn't go as well as you wanted. Sometimes you just have an error in judgment.
Yes.
And I love talking about there's a difference between making a mistake and an error in judgment. And to your point, Sandra, like if we would reframe that as like, I just didn't have enough information. So it actually wasn't a mistake. It was an error in judgment.
Mm.
Now, if you repeat the same error in judgment again, then we're going to have a conversation around what kept you from learning the first time around.
Mhm.
But yeah, I love the example of walking. Like we forget how many times we've actually fallen. I was teaching a class yesterday. It's an 8-course session around leadership behaviors, and we're on resilience. Resilience is what powers this EEI engine. Because you cannot be energetic, enthusiastic, intense without having resilience.
Yes.
Because if you're using those threes, I guarantee you are going to run into a wall at some point. You're going to trip and fall. Something is not going to go right because you are pushing yourself.
Yes.
Resilience allows you to pick yourself up and keep moving forward.
Yes.
So beautiful. I feel like that's a perfect stopping point. Oh my gosh, Beverly, we could go forever with you. Where can people find you and connect with you?
Yeah, so 2 key places. You can obviously go to my website, which is thymeoutconsulting.com. It is spelled like the herb. So it's THYME. So thymeoutconsulting.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn under Bev Flores, Flores. That's my 2 key areas. On the website, you can do the leadership quiz that I talked about. So you can find out what's your leadership persona, your superpower. And then there's obviously some other articles on there. But if anything, you get, I always offer a 30-minute strategic session for free. You can walk away with one thing from that conversation, and ideally helping you lean into the courage to lead, and really looking at how you create that impact through your authentic self.
Mm. I love it.
What a gift. Thank you so much. We
Yes.
are so happy to be connected with you and have you
Yeah.
share with us your zone of genius.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
We'll have to have you back again.
Oh, heck yeah. I'll bring a different necklace.
Okay. I might even wear one.
Oh, there we go. Look at this.
Bye.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on this episode of Exposing the Hidden Reality. If something hit home or made you snort laugh, tell us.
Seriously, we love hearing from you. Message us, tag us, or send us coffee. We love
And
coffee,
hey, leave a review. It helps more women find us and boosts our egos.
which are like fragile, like suspiciously fragile.
True. All right, until next time, keep questioning, keep growing, and if all else fails,
Blame the dog.
see you
See you next time.
Wait, did we stop recording?
No, we're still here. You have to push the red button.
Red button. Cool. Just eternal podcast.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, gorgeous.